Hey guys, I just got something in. So yeah, Screaming Eagle Ohlins Remote Reservoir Performance Shocks for the rear of my 2024 Street Glide here. I just did a video about adjusting your stock suspension, and when I started that video, I didn't know I was gonna get an opportunity to get these. And things have worked out where I was able to get these, and so I'm actually gonna do an install and get these on before we go to Sturgis. And then when I get back from Sturgis, I think I'll do a review video. I've done other suspension aftermarket in the past that was more affordable than these. This is gonna be my first set of, I guess, premium suspension. I've heard a lot of good things about this, including the fact that someone in Facebook comments claimed that, they put these suspension on the back of their new Street Glide and it fixed their high-speed wobbles, which I find very interesting and would make me very, very pleased if that turns out to be the case. Now, I also said in the video about adjusting your stock suspension that it was very good, and it is. But if you've been watching the channel for a few years, back 2023, at the beginning of the year, I said if Harley Davidson came out with a new Street Glide with, liquid cooled heads, inverted front forks, better suspension, bigger motor, this digital screen that was leaked at the time and all this stuff, that I would buy it. And I did, even though it didn't have that suspension. What I really kind of wanted was a Street Glide ST with better suspension, better performance, kind of the performance bagger thing. Well, they did that with the CVO Road Glide ST, but no Street Glide ST exists. So I guess we're gonna start our Street Glide ST build with this suspension. It's gonna take me some time. I don't just get tons of money or free products to throw at this bike. Occasionally I get something sponsored, and anyway, I expect it's gonna be next year before this build is complete. By the time I do front suspension, that's $4 or $5 grand for inverted front forks on this bike. And then if I do a 122 kit, or even if I just do a cam, we're still talking another couple thousand. This is a $6,000 build, not counting this $1,500 rear suspension that we just got. So it's gonna take me some time. Maybe if you guys are all good to me and watch my videos throughout the winter, I can afford to do it in the spring. Anyway, let's get started with the install. I opted for the Ohlins with the black canisters, as you can see there. And that's because my bike is white and black. I have blacked out trim on a white Onyx Pearl, so I thought the black and white kind of coordinated with the coloring better. Now, to prepare, the first thing you do is secure the vehicle upright, which I have done, but I'm not using tie downs. Remove the rear shock, save the screws and washers. It says to remove the OE screws from the fender strut, and it's talking about this diagram here. Take those two out, and we're going to use the short spacer for with the tour pack or saddlebag support inserts, and then use or other accessory kits use like the 4-point docking hardware kit. So we'll use short spacers because of that. If we didn't have that in there, then we would use the long spacers, and those come in these packages here. That's a 3/4 socket to remove those mounting bolts for the rear shock. Now, the two bolts we're removing are the ones for the 4-point docking harness. That's why I went ahead and removed the tour pack. This is a T45 holding them in. Make sure when you put all this back, you do check the torque specs. If your motorcycle's the same as mine, then I'll give you those. But if you have a different model, you need to be sure your torque specs are right for you. Also, I love this blue Loctite gel I got on Amazon. You'll see me using that throughout my videos. There's a link to that in the description. It's not nearly as runny as a traditional Loctite. I really, really like it. Because somebody's going to ask, I'm using my scissors lift from my Let's Roll Dolly and Lift. I don't have this up on the table lift. I could have put it on there, but for what I'm doing, I don't need it off the ground really. And this is not that long of a job. It's not that hard. I put this type of suspension, not the Ohlins, but remote reservoir suspension on another bike recently. No need to get it off the ground if so if you don't have a table lift, don't worry about it. You can do this in your garage, easy. All right, here's that Loctite I was talking about. I get on Amazon. It's a gel. Works great. One dab will do it. That will work its way around the threads. I don't have to rub it all over the place. As you turn it in, it'll work through all the threads. And so what they're talking about is this is a support bracket for the remote reservoir. And so this screws into it from the backside. So on mine, it's going to sit like this. So these will screw in here. Now these only get tightened up to 8 foot-pounds of torque, so not very much. Takes a 5/8 socket or wrench, because it's only that. That's not going to be something I'm going to get a torque wrench out for. I'm just going to snug it up by hand. Not that I'm a professional mechanic. Things like axles and stuff like that, I am very specific about the torque, but basically we're just snugging this up and that's it. 8 foot-pounds is not much. Well, I'm over here at the bench. I'm going to go ahead and get some Loctite on the bolts that I'm going to be using for the install. We use the hardware supplied with the shocks for mounting this support bracket for the reservoir. Sorry about the background noise, but it's in the 90s outside and I've got air conditioning in the shop finally, so we're using it. Put your touring pack hardware in, and I put one bolt through here just to kind of help guide everything and help it line up. This is the replacement is smaller than a T45. Luckily I brought everything over here with me, so I'll need the T45 to take the other side off. It's a T40 to put it on. I know a power ratchet's faster, but I am paranoid about stripping stuff, so I just do it by hand. I'm not a professional mechanic. I don't get paid by the hour. I'm not in that big of a rush, and I like the feel of doing it by hand, especially starting bolts out to make sure I don't strip anything. Torque spec is 20 foot-pounds. Now you torque these down to 20 foot-pounds. I've already done that. And you probably should put this on before you put it together, but I did not. But you make sure you put the bracket onto the inside, but with the loop going to the outside. It's the only flat surface, so it's kind of hard to screw it up. I already put some Loctite on these little bolts. Get them ran in here and get them flushed up, and then I'll torque them down. This is the mount for the remote reservoir. They give you some washers that go between the shock and the strut mount. There's not a washer there in the OEM implementation, but that's what those extra washers are for. The rear shock on my bike is about 40 foot-pounds of torque. Also, they recommend some Loctite, so I'm gonna get that on here and get it tightened up. All right, there's a little bolt right back here that you use to clamp this shock reservoir down into this mount. Make sure you put some blue Loctite on it, tighten it down. Takes a little hex head. Make sure you get this where you want it lined up wise, and so your knobs are easy to get to and the sticker's visible if that's something you care about. All right guys, I know it looks like it's gonna be really close to the tour pack mount, but I did test fit it all tightened up on one side, so we're gonna go ahead and do the other side. I'm not gonna film that, you don't need to see that. And then we'll talk about the adjustment stuff. So there's a chart that comes with the Ohlins suspension that talks about the preload talks about with or without a tour pack, with cargo weight, all that stuff. Basically, I should be at around a 20 with a tour pack and around 16 without a tour pack. But I have a chopped tour pack, so I'm gonna go 18 to start with. That's 18 millimeters, which is 0.71 inches. So we're gonna be just under 3/4 of an inch for all of us in America, because that's all my tape measure is. No metric here. Now, this ring has slots in it. They give you this tool. You just crank that around. This works a lot better than the stock adjusters that I recently had to use, what they call a spanner wrench, and that really kind of sucks. And what we're going to measure is from that lip to the top of this adjuster. We're nowhere near 3/4 of an inch, so we'll be back after I get this close. We're really close, about a 1/16 less than 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to call that good and do the other side. Before you start adjusting this collar ring, there is a nylon lock in here. You can turn it with a screwdriver. You want to make sure it's loosened up before you adjust it, and then when you're done, run it back in. That's just to help keep this ring from vibrating and loosening up. I mean, if you're run down like I am, 3/4 of an inch, there should be enough spring tension on here to probably keep it in place. But they do recommend running that in with the screwdriver and making sure that's locked in tight. Now, the instructions from Harley Davidson have a chart here for setting your compression and rebound dampening, how many clicks. They talk about like solo with luggage, and tour pack, etc. In the owner's manual, they talk about which adjuster is which, and fine tuning that. And basically, these settings are a recommendation on where to start. But then you may want to fine tune that to your specific desires and comfort. So not everybody's exactly the same. Different weights matter, how different riding styles matter, all that stuff. So the compression dampening is on the top up here, and rebound dampening is down here on the very bottom of the shock. We're going to start with rebound dampening. To start at 0, you turn the adjuster clockwise to fully closed position. Okay, no clicks, so I'm at 0. There's my first click. So rebound adjustment for me with a tour pack is recommended at 10. Without a tour pack is 16. Because I have a chop pack, I'm going to start out in the middle and go 13. Most of the time my chop pack is pretty empty or packed with pretty light stuff. I use it maybe going down the highway till we get to the motel and then unload. So 13 it is. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now for compression, they recommend 8 with a tour pack, 13 without. So I'm going to go around 10 or 11 on the compression. So I'm going to start at 0 and count back 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, same thing on the other side. And we're going to go ahead and put the bags on it. And I'm going to do some riding. I will probably do my review in another video because this is getting pretty long. We're getting ready to go to Sturgis. So I'm going to get probably 3,000 miles on it in the next couple weeks. And so I'll have a good feel for what I think of it. I'm going to ride a lot of highway, going to ride some curvy roads. So I'll get to ride it in a lot of different scenarios. And we'll also see if we can figure out if it makes any difference to that little wobble situation people talk about. The Street Glide ST build has begun. It's going to be a slow process. Don't get in a hurry. Y'all stay safe, keep on riding, and we'll see you in the next one.